When the first human-centered land on Mars could enter in their prefabricated tailwinds, removed the space helms, and inhaled the lithium break hard, these homes would have an optimal gas mixture for human respiration and would be perfectly pressurized if the paper-dancing big-alive support company in space become a reality. Its must hard air conditioning and meticulously filtered oxygen, anti-hard with vague wines for the astronaut for 2 years. In takes amount of time ensured time environment control and life support system has a strong and reliable work history. The life of the settler's depends on things since Mars atmosphere is about 95% carbon dioxide and about 0% oxygen. Martians are recipe for winds they astronauts will not be able to survive with low oxygen. National Geographic created the home as part of its research for the new miniseries on the Red Planet, which is precisely based on Pendragon's book, a book of the human life would be in Mars. The horse includes adorned legs to hand underground hard, where hairs and machines they process carbon dioxide are installed next to beds in one of the bedrooms.
Upstairs, there is a small area set up for a kitchen, including a microwave where human beings will prepare most of their food, bed, and a computer that fit perfectly on the small upper surface of the house. One platform also contains pots of plants, as humans on Mars will have to grow and grow at least 20% of their vegetables for food. Lettuce will be a particularly good option for these purposes. Since gravity will only be 38% as strong as on Earth, people will have to be careful not let the environment damage their bone mass by practicing daily exercise with 3D printing exercise machines. Outside the cabin of the house, people must have to wear a lightweight space suit that resembles a diving suit. As for the reasons why so much work is taking humans to get Mars, Petronic considers that it is not a case of curiosity but of necessity. The SpaceX project aims to land humans on the red planet in 2025, but Petronic says the initiative could take a couple more years.
The consequences of living in hypergravity. The most immediate are the biological ones. During a journey, astronauts can suffer motion sickness, headache and body ache, genitourinary problems, muscle and bone loss, immunosuppression, and even temporary blindness. Microgravity, in addition, alters the nervous system, hearing, vision, and cause change in the cardiovascular system. How could a pregnant woman deal with all this? Would a rape of months affect the woman who want to be pregnant on Mars sometime later? Especially because living in Martian colony will now facilitate the recovery of the astronaut to an optimal state of health. The gravity of Mars is 0.38 times Earth, will indicate that astronauts will remain in hypergravity throughout their mission or throughout their lives. It barely took a fraction of a second the robot Curiosity to post the message put the NASA team that growth it had to wait a quarter of an hour for the radio signal said to be the robot confirmed its arrival to the red planet. This team lapse is because that cannot be faster than the speed of light. To this day, real-time conversations between planets are still a science fiction fantasy. But science is working hard to be able in the future to see more that be expanding the bandwidth and this one day permit to be able to broadcast high definition video imaging from the surface of Mars.
Therefore, most astronauts will never be able to recover to a state of health similar to that before the trip, and that they will have to adapt to new parameters of health and well-being. That is, to live with serious physical limitations. Even with the situation of health of astronauts, the biggest challenge is the economic one. Reportedly, an optimistic estimate will put around $10,000 million to take a person to Mars if standard procedures are followed. The goal is to reduce that amount to $200,000 per person in the future, so that almost every person who wants to go to Mars has a real chance of being able to afford it. The Earth and Mars aren't too different, especially in the key points such as the distance from the Sun, the duration of the days and the temperature. Elon Musk even says that he is convinced that if we could hit Mars a little more, we could create atmospheres and recover the liquid ocean that one day had. At the speed that can be launched at the beginning of the 21st century, a spaceship, a man round trip from Earth to Mars in the best condition of distance and gravity, the estimated time from 400 to 450 Earth days.
At the International Aeronautical Congress held in September 26th in Guadalajara, Mexico, Elon Musk has convinced many space engineers that they will be able to send a fleet of private rockets with thousands of people to Mars. Musk always will focus on orbits, flight plans, and fuel costs, but what was conspicuous be its answer was related information about how insiders will survive. In fact, the threat of wars will probably be at dead end, but in radiation, and with nothing capable of growing on its surface. The red planet is basically a grave war. Setting high-dose experiments trying to modify human cells in the laboratory. Will it be possible to make them resistant to radiation? Could it be modified to be able to produce warm vitamins and amino acids? Genetic modification plays a big role in mission details. In times we hate to consider if for people we send to other planets, we don't know if it right three to signify both instinct gene expressors or insert actually made from some or revise the genetic code.
According to the researcher, there is still a decade or two of work to find out what effect space exploration has on genes, which ones are susceptible to being altered and which ones should be included in a do not touch list. Space is full of very fast rays and particles that damage DNA, so he is going to still work on radiation-proof human cells. Human values on Mars. Aside from testing biology, the research believes that Mars will test air, laws and moral principles. There, the harsh condition, the fact of living in small colonies with a limited number of companions and living very far from air, could change human values. They believe this could affect one of the most fundamental principles of Western civilization, the value of life. Could it be that the interest of the community prevails over that of the individual? A hostile environment with a small population could result in the elevation of the value of the group over the value of the individual. This might change the mentality regarding abortion, euthanasia, of terminally ill people, or even the sacrifice of people for the good of the entire community. For example, researchers anticipate that the abortion policy in space will be more liberal than on Earth because, for example, the birth of decided children will be very damaging to the colony. Going to Mars and life there is a truly challenge. The amount of money, resources, and training for part of the astronauts is immense. But if Elon Musk is correct about the date when the humanity will be capable of going to Mars, we are not too far from it. But anything can occur in the next years. The actual pandemic is an example of that.